Hi there, I'm Andy, a moon-chasing, manifesting, wander lover, and feel-good aficionado. Consider me your woo-woo best friend. This show is a sacred space for ideas, concepts, and modalities that might be considered taboo, but that I personally find a great magic in. In these conversations, my mission is to inspire confidence, worth, and mystical thinking in our modern world. Let's get into it, shall we? Hello, my friends. I am so excited about this episode. So, as I'm starting to record this, I am sitting in my home in New Orleans. It's storming outside. It's one of those like magical spring storms. And I shared the news on last week's episode about our big move across the country and calling in our new home and that whole experience. So it's a bit bittersweet that I'm sitting here in my New Orleans home, the last episode that I will have recorded here. And this episode is an interview with a New Orleans friend. So I'm so excited about it. Keyoncé, as Keyoncé says, if you're nasty, is a spiritual life and business coach, a tarot reader, a cultural sociologist based here in New Orleans, and is incredibly knowledgeable about all sorts of different practices, philosophies, spirituality, experiences, from New Orleans hoodoo and Mississippi hoodoo to Buddhism to Kabbalah to Christianity and Catholicism. There's so much wisdom that's going to be shared in this episode and that Keyoncé shares on the platform called Millennial Soul Food, where they are constantly just dropping incredible knowledge about spell work, about the different types of kitchen witchery that you can try out. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff. You are really coming into a conversation that is like best friends slumber party conversation. And I promise that Keyoncé will be back again with more magic, more spell work that you can tap into and explore on your own, because there's so much goodness coming in this episode. So here we go. Meet my friend, Keyoncé.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. I have, yes, I can see you. And of course the listeners cannot. And so I know that we've already been cutting up and I'm like, tell me how I should pronounce your name. And you're like, Keyoncé, if you're nasty. So here we go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, I'm so excited to talk to you. My New Orleans people, I love it so much. As you know, I shared this with you. When this episode comes out, I'll have just completed a big move and I'll just be getting settled into my West Coast living experience. But New Orleans is truly home for me, and I've been here for so many years and I love it so much. And this is where you are, here in New Orleans.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. And influences so much of who you are and what you're up to. So I'm going to ask you first a few astrology questions, because that's where we always start. But then I want to get right into your story, and you've got such a cool story. So I'm excited
thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
Let's get into it.
So first, your astrological chart, your sun, moon, and rising. Would you share that with me and the folks who are listening?
So my sun is in Capricorn, and then my moon is in Capricorn, and then I'm a rising Aquarius. So I definitely feel it. I won't say that being a moon in Capricorn, having my moon in Capricorn is like easy. But I have kind of integrated it into my philosophy as a spiritual person. So I love astrology. And did you want me to explain a little bit, I guess, about my personality profile?
Do it.
So I definitely do identify with the sun and moon in Capricorn. I love kind of like structure. I also am, I would say I'm a pretty grounded individual. And I do sort of, once you get to know me, I think I do exhibit a lot of Capricorn characteristics in terms of like, I know a lot of people, but I don't really get to know a lot of people.
Mm.
Like people don't really get to know the private me a whole lot. So I would say Capricorns are very good at not being like chameleons, but kind of chameleons, and showing up in certain social situations. Not, I guess, like in a shallow way, but kind of in a way to conserve energy
Yeah.
and, in a meaningful way. So also, anytime I talk, I don't really like, I'm a pretty quiet person outside of my work or whatever. I'm very silly, but if I'm talking, usually it's something that I want to say. I don't really talk like just to say words.
Yeah.
So, and then I would say that Aquarius rising is very much so my like social profile. Just, I guess it kind of is reflected in the nature of my work, with spirituality. And I'm really interested in like technology and, the future, like Afrofuturism, kind of conceptualizing what the future looks like, with spirituality. So I'm very Aquarian in that, sense. And also, I think, yeah, I'm very Aquarian in terms of the humanitarian sense, technology, thinking about the future, but also I do like my distance from people. So I'm very concerned with like ideas. I love ideas and like thinking about this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I do kind of enjoy being, I guess, more solitary.
Yeah, I love that Capricorn Aquarius mashup. That's so good. I'm a Capricorn rising, which
Okay.
it's funny. I've had a lot of folks on the show thus far that have Capricorn somewhere in their big three. So I feel like every week I'm like Capricorn rising, Capricorn rising. But I don't know.
We in here.
Yeah, I must be attracting that Capricorn energy. Also, maybe it's just that like Capricorns like get shit done. So
Period. Cardinal signs.
Yeah.
It's like I get tired of other people because I have to start shit all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway.
No, I feel it.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's why I've had so many Capricorn folks on the first like 12 episodes, because they're the ones like checking email and getting back to me right away. Like, hey, let's do it. Let's get it done.
I do have to control my anxiety though. So there is a lot of anxiety associated with being type A. But I have recently come out of a shadow period where I stopped drinking coffee, and I have I guess I've been able to sort of modify some of my coping mechanisms and behaviors to be more healthy. So and I just got out of my Saturn's return maybe like a few months ago. So those are some lessons I've been learning.
Yeah. I did the coffee. I got off the coffee last year. Do you have any? Okay, this is not what we're here to talk about, but we're gonna. I'm gonna ask you.
Whatever, sleepover, best friends.
That's right. So, do you have a coffee sub that you're using now, that you're drinking now, that you really like, that helped you to get out of it?
Yeah, I'm drinking kratom. So, kratom, it's like this powder, and it's green. It's like this herb. I think it's from Asia. But I would warn, check with your doctor before you consume any of it, because it's like a workout enhancer also. Okay. But it gives you energy, but it's not like you don't get the crash that you do with coffee, or the kind of like gritty teeth feeling. Or like all of a sudden the world's gonna blow up. You know how you're so caffeinated, you're like, oh my god, I'm about to explode. Yeah. So that doesn't happen. Kratom, if you drink too much of it, it makes you kind of like sleepy a little bit. So it's kind of like it makes you kind of more like not sedated but calmer.
Got it.
But it's a stimulant if you only have 1 cup of it.
Okay.
With water, because it is a lot on the liver. Because it's like a new substance, that you're consuming and stuff. So I think as far as your liver processing it, drinking a lot of water with it can help.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
It's good.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I do like a dandelion root. That's my coffee sub.
Oh, I'm gonna try that. Huh.
It's like the one I drink. It's called Dandy Blend, and it tastes like it's roasted like chicory. which you know about chicory as a New Orleans person. We all know about chicory around here. But yeah, I really like it, and it tastes like coffee, but I don't feel like I'm going to explode like when I'm drinking coffee. Yeah,
dandelion root. I'm going to try that out.
Yeah, you'll have to check
I
it
also I am a certified barista, so I definitely know about the chicory.
Yeah.
I like to mention that just because I worked at a coffee shop for a month and got the training, and then worked for 2 weeks, and I was like,
you're certified.
No.
You got the certification and you're out.
The people were too much. I could not. That's why I really commend a lot of the service industry people here. That was pre-COVID also. So yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot. Okay, you are doing a lot in your work also. So let's talk about that. So you're a spiritual life and business coach, a tarot reader. You have a background in cultural sociology, and you are constantly offering really interesting experiences. I of course found you on Instagram and was like, okay, the lessons, the learning, the education I get just from like hanging out on your Instagram page.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you hoodoo. I want to talk about hoodoo. We, the people that follow you on Instagram, get to learn a lot of little tips around bringing a bit of a hoodoo practice into our lives. So yeah, tell me about all the things you're up to.
So I have my Patreon, Millennial Soul Food Patreon, and then my podcast. And I also do digital marketing. So I have some clients that I work with like for digital strategy. But I guess primarily my projects center around like spirituality. And I do love like I guess creative consulting is it's kind of a new thing, I guess, but like consulting with people on their creativity and their process of growing their business. But also we talk about like spiritual components of that and working through different kinds of blocks that relate to like self-confidence and, fear of success a lot of times.
Yeah.
So that's primarily what I do. I'm not doing readings now because those are kind of energetically draining.
Sure.
And I'm doing a lot of spiritual stuff because I practice Ifa, which is this Nigerian spiritual tradition. But so I'm doing a lot of content creation, and I guess all of this is kind of a part of an eventual curriculum because I have my academy that I teach. So I teach the Cyber Witch Academy and Tarot Academy. But yeah, primarily all of my work kind of, I don't know, I get inspiration from spirit a lot. It's just my spirit guides. They tell me what to do. But it's kind of in a vein of like forwarding thinking around occultism and spirituality and society.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's a lot. My book's coming out in a few years, so I don't know.
Perfect. Okay, so we have the book, we have the podcast, we have the Patreon.
Content creation.
Yeah. And if you hang out on Millennial Soul Food and check out what you're up to, there's just so much education that it needs to all be in a course for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And you already have the Cyber Witch Academy and the Tarot Academy.
Yeah. And so in the Cyber Witch Academy, we talk about what it means to be a witch in 2021 in terms of using the internet, not only to find community, but to find different ideas for rituals and, different material to like spiritually elevate or to work through different kinds of spiritual blocks. And then with Tarot Academy, I've been doing tarot for like 14 years now. And so that is just all about the numerology of tarot. It's about the philosophy of tarot, why tarot works. It's a pretty deep dive into all of those topics. Perfect.
So you and I talked on the phone the other day, and we talked about that we were going to talk today about love and money. Two things everybody wants to talk about.
Hey. Yeah, baby.
We're going to talk about love and money. So if you're here for either of those things, if you want love, if you want money, we're going to talk about it. So before we get into it, I would love for you to talk a little bit about hoodoo for someone who's listening and is like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. What is hoodoo? What is hoodoo?
So basically, all cultures have a component that is spiritual and kind of associated with the healing arts. So hoodoo specifically is it's like a spiritual system that Black Southern people created during like enslavement as a form of healing. So there's a lot of herbalism, understanding the uses of plants, understanding the metaphysical uses for plants. So for instance, using bay leaf for prosperity, that is understanding the metaphysical part, but also the, bay leaves have a lot of nutrients and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of it centers around that. And then the other parts is like, there's like energy work, because I guess we call it like laying hands. And then also it's kind of like it's like a way of forming community and passing down knowledge. Because hoodoo is a conglomeration of Native American spiritual traditional like healing arts, Catholicism, there's a lot of that influence, Protestant Christianity, depending on what part of the country you're in. New Orleans hoodoo is more influenced by Catholicism because that is the predominant religion here, but because of Spanish and French colonization. Whereas where I'm from in Mississippi, it's more Protestant. So that is another component. And then the West African spiritual tradition. So there's a lot of elements of like Ifa and Vodou and Palo. And so it's kind of like it's a mixture of those. So it's a magic system also. So we do like spells and all that kind of stuff too. So yeah, that's primarily what hoodoo is. And I would say there's a huge debate about appropriation and hoodoo, but the material that I put out, it's anyone can use a bay leaf for prosperity. I would say hoodoo and appropriation more so has to do, I think, with there is a lot of appropriation of hoodoo in New Orleans, but I think that is because there's like a lot of use of the knowledge, like Black people's knowledge, but there isn't really any kind of economic reciprocity, as far as the marketing and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that's a macro issue. But if someone's on my Instagram and they decide to do one of my spells, that's not really a huge deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to just kind of make that known.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we're going to talk about is spell work. So that's a good thing to make known. Yes. So if somebody's at home and they want to try out what you're going to share with us, Feel free. That is all good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But if you're a tourist in New Orleans and you're acting a fool and just kind of just taking what you're seeing and then there's no money exchange, not so cool.
Yeah. And then I would say also, a lot of the shop owners here, there has been a lot of appropriation too. That's kind of a contentious issue. Yeah. But I think that has to do a lot with structural inequality and racism too. Because there is a lot of classism here too also. But
sure.
Yeah. But as far as spell work, I did want to kind of give a little intro to why it works and stuff.
Yeah. So let's do it.
There's two different theories in the spiritualism that I mostly, I guess, adhere to whenever I'm thinking about spell work. So there's the theory that we are basically a smaller bubble of God or, the universe or the universal intelligence. So when we're doing spell work, it's like we are tapping into these unconscious elements of the one or of spirit or of a different emanation of God or spirit. And there's a lot of different kinds of spirits you can work with. But there's that theory of the mind and as above, so below. And then there's the more, I guess, it's a theory that's where you believe that there's spirits for everything. So nature spirits and money spirits and ancestors and da-da-da-da. And there's an overlap between these two types of thinking or approaches. But this one more so has to do with using spell work as a form of communication with these higher and sometimes lower level intelligent beings.
Got it. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So let's talk spells for money. Okay. I also want to ask you this before we get into that. So there seems to be, at least I've noticed recently, there's this debate on whether or not we should be saying, and I'm using air quotes, and I know the people that are listening can't see that, but I'm using air quotes. Should we be saying money is energy? Is that a problematic statement to say money is energy. Is money energy? Should we be saying
Mm-hmm.
it? Are we potentially, by saying that, are we saying that someone who has less money has a lower energy
Mm-hmm.
frequency, or someone who has more money?
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I haven't heard a lot of debates on the problematic part of it, but I do believe that money is energy, but also if we think about the way the society is structured, it's structured so that energy flows in a certain way. So privilege is I guess, an accumulation of like economic resources and energy over time. So I would argue that I still think it's energy. Just because I grew up working class in Mississippi doesn't mean that that I have like less energy or whatever
Right.
because of how I was born.
Right.
But I think it more so has to do, like I said, with the ways that people are benefiting from energy and the ways that capitalism is structured
Right.
in terms of, people are people, I guess, in other countries, they're going to factories to work and, create our clothing. So it's like they're using a lot of energy, but there's people benefiting from that energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's people benefiting in kind of a materialistic way. So I still argue that money is energy, and especially for spell work and stuff like that. It's with money magic and money spell work. I think it's important to emphasize that you have to do the internal work as well as the external work. So there are a lot of different ways that society, this is my sociological background, but there's a lot of different ways that society is structured to keep people from learning about money and learning about the money system and learning about, the way even banks work and savings accounts and, credit
Yeah.
scores work. So it is very important to pay attention to your own internal mindset, to pay attention to your thinking about money. And so I always preface this with that. But money magic specifically works really well through mantras. And then I always just recommend people use candle magic if they can, or some crystals. So with money magic, you want to have a money altar as a space that you go to not only work on your mantras. So let's say this is a shout out to Dr. Kate Thomas, the UK witch. She has this money magic course actually. And you go through actually and you do mantras to clear out karmic thinking, the way your past generations thought about money. So hers is specifically geared towards women and people who have been historically marginalized, to rethink the way we've been conditioned to think about money. Like money isn't just for white men, money is, we deserve money. And she talks about like, redefining how we think about money as an energetic source, sort of. For, making us happy and fulfilling our lives. So mantras are super important. You can have some written at the altar. Crystals are very important also. Lodestone is a crystal that a lot of people use in prosperity work. And you can have like magnetic sand. Magnetic sand is basically this like sand that's like made from magnets, like metal, and it sticks to the lodestone. And you can say that at your money altar while you're like envisioning breaking down these barriers to your prosperity. This also works really well if you have a business or a way to make more money. And also with candle magic, specifically, it's like you're putting your intentions into this candle as a way to facilitate movement in the universe, so that, a constellation of things happen for you to get money, whether that's through spirits or whether that's through coincidence or all of it. So I typically with candle magic, suggest a green candle. And then there are certain prosperity herbs that people can use. So you can use bay leaf, you can use rosemary, you can use chamomile. This is all like kitchen witchery stuff. You can use thyme. And typically what people will kind of poke holes in the candle. These are like candles in the glass. They're like called 7-day candles.
Okay.
And so I usually recommend like 3, 5, 7, an odd number of herbs. And if you use a 7-day candle with the glass, you want to maybe poke holes in it, and people will put the herbs in there, and then a little bit of money oil that you can purchase from, any botanica or a shop. and then you just let it burn, and you can use petition paper also. You can, write out, I am a magical moneymaker or something like that. That's from Kate Thomas's, her masterclass. And then you can put that on top of the candle. You can also do a sigil, which a sigil is basically where you take a sentence, take the vowels out, and then create a symbol, like a single symbol through that. And then you can put that on the candle, and then you just let it burn down, and you say your prayers of intentions and stuff like that. So that is a crash course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. So if someone's trying to figure out like what mantra should I use to call in money, how do they know? Is there somewhere to go to find one, or should they kind of intuitively create something that resonates with them?
So Google is one of my best friends. Hey, girl. And so definitely just Google money mantras. And I like to Google them and then create my own from that. And so, like, for instance, I use one from Kate, actually, from her Money Magic course. But I like to create my own also. And if you're doing something more creative where you need resources, I like to say, I have it hanging up here. It's like, I am a co-creator with the universe.
Yeah.
So repeating that. And it's important to do these. You want to go to your altar, your money altar every day. This isn't just kind of a one-day thing. And specifically with 7-day candles, you can do those rituals on like around a new moon, because new moons symbolize planting seeds. It's when farmers planted seeds, because the moonlight, there was an increase in moonlight and it facilitated the growth of the plants. So that's kind of like how we do it in the witchery stuff. Because this isn't just hoodoo, it's like general witch knowledge.
Yeah.
Nature witch.
Just general nature witch knowledge. Yes. Got it.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. I'm very much like my personal style of witchery is very much that lunar, like connecting into the lunar energetics.
Mother Moon.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's such a thing for me. I actually teach a lunar living course, and which is really fun. We have a really good, the course is all around. We practice self-love, different acts of self-love, and we have a ritual that we do each week. So 1 week we build an altar. The first week we're taking a ritual bath at some point that week. So we're doing that. Then we build an altar. Then there's a few other things. We do some cord cutting.
And my God, girl.
It's all so good.
I full disclosure, I think I told you going through a breakup. So, well, it has happened, but, yeah, I think I love the moon because sometimes I can so for instance, with this breakup, it's a wave of different emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand, how the moon works and influences, those waves sort of. And so I could tell from the full moon, on the full moon, I had a huge breakthrough about intergenerational trauma that had to do with this breakup and the ways that I was, I guess, treated in the relationship, sort of.
Yeah.
And so I had that realization, and then literally 2 weeks later with the new moon, there's another occurrence that I had a breakthrough. So it's just interesting to see how these cycles kind of work in tandem with our own internal dynamics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. As we move past the full moon and we're heading into that last quarter phase, and then the disseminating and the balsamic phase, that time for liberation practices, like the cord cutting. I also do there's a banishing ritual that I like to practice. It's like just blending up it's all kitchen witchery stuff too. It's blending up some oils and some herbs, and then just kind of, sometimes it's needs to go around the phone if some messages came through that you got to get rid of. Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah. So it's I'm banishing that energy. But I do that at the last quarter moon, when it's I want to be super clear before going into the new moon, so that I'm ready to call in the new.
Last quarter. Okay. I need to make note of that.
You're taking notes.
Thank you so much. Yes.
I'm taking notes. You're taking notes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I also wanted to mention you can do prosperity baths also. Those kind of tend to smell a little bit more I guess earthy, because I guess thyme, bay leaves, chamomile is a little bit sweeter, but you can do baths with that. So I like to recommend that people take a French press and have the dried herbs, put the hot water in there, French press it out so you don't have the herbs. Give those to a tree or something, or just throw them out. Yeah. And then put that in the bath, and it's like you're seeping in a tea.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. Okay. Yes. I mean, really, you could be doing a different ritual bath like every other day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you can, if you don't want to take a bath, you can just pour the water. Like, you can just kind of use the water to, like with a towel on your body or something like that.
Yeah, nice. I mean, our skin is the biggest organ, and that's how we get it all the good stuff in. Yeah, nice.
Yes.
I love it. I
also love the hertz, the YouTube, like 437 hertz, where it's like attuned to a certain frequency. Like, I don't know what it is, but I like it. So I've been using it a lot.
Me too. I really like it too. I think there's a, I'm going to say it wrong. The hertz that is 528. I really like that one too. But I was just looking actually on Instagram before we got on this chat, on this conversation, and a friend of mine who was on the podcast a couple weeks, well, really, I guess maybe a month or two ago now. Her name's Shidea, and she had like a whole post with like all the different frequencies and what each of them is for.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Ooh. I need to check that out. Yeah. I used a heart chakra one for maybe 2 weeks because I was trying to work through fear of commitment. And then the breakup happened. But you see how spirit works. Anyway. But it helped a whole lot. The heart chakra one, and then letting go of negativity and worry and stuff like that. I sleep with them like throughout the night.
Yeah.
Because
I've been sleeping with a gong sound, and it's specifically called the wish fulfilling gong, and it's supposed to like up your manifestation energetic while you sleep. And I had some pretty major stuff come through in like the last couple months, and I was telling Ben, my partner, I was like, that wish fulfilling gong is like really doing it. Does
he sleep with it too?
Well, he has to, because he doesn't have a choice. I mean, I'm playing it, so he's.
So is it like a light, like gong?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't, because that can be kind of intense. So I didn't know if it was like gong, like
it's
why are you treating your partner like that? Like, it's horrible.
He definitely likes it now. There's like one, there's one I like that's a healing gong, and then there's one that's the wish gong. Like during the whole like first 9 months of the pandemic, I was doing the healing one every night. It was just like, let's just try to stay, let's just try to be okay.
Stabilized a little bit.
Yeah. But they're low. It's like a low it's like a low sound. It's not like dong, dong. It's not like that. It's like
a dong.
Yeah, it's more like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I get that.
Yeah. Huh. I'll have to send it to you.
So send it to me, because I am into all of it. I like to have that on while I'm reading and stuff too, because I read a lot and then pay attention to celebrity gossip. So that's
I mean, all the things. all the things. Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask you about this. So you're going through a breakup, and we all at some point in our lives go through. I mean, I don't know anybody that hasn't at some point in their life gone through a breakup. So when you come out on the other side of that and you're ready to call in love again, what's some things we can do to call in love? Or what's some things we could do, and maybe things we want to stay away from doing?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, and the breakup is like, I wish that for this person the best, period. Just know I have released, it was all good, it's totally fine. But well, before you do any spell work after a breakup, you need to do your reflections on what you learned, and take, be like, I don't want this in a relationship. I don't want to do this. I will accept this. I won't accept this. So it's very important to not ignore that, because with these kinds of love, magic is tricky, and you got to be very clear, because if you aren't clear enough, a lot of times with love, you get someone who's your mirror reflection. So it's like you get someone who basically enables, I guess, like trauma. And sometimes that is a part of the healing journey, to have someone that's going to be there for a certain period of time to show you your triggers, to show you what, how messed up your life has been, sort of.
Yeah.
This time to go.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I'm doing. Because, I'm definitely about to be in the love magic. Honey, trust and believe. Because my friend has some spell work. He has some heat. So I was like, I'm not ready for it yet. I need a month or two. I'm not ready. But after I've gone through this process, the process is different for everybody. Do your reflection work, and then you're ready to step into doing more attraction work. And so I always recommend people make a list of what they're looking for in a partner, characteristics, income, if we're being real, professional status, everything, physical features like spirituality, all that kind of stuff. So you need to have that list, have it on your love altar. And then I love planetary magic. So Friday is a Venus day, and there's a planetary hour calculator actually that you can look up on Google. And so there's specific Venus hour like 3 times throughout the day and night. And so I have made, let's say, whenever I was in the relationship, I made a sweetener spray from lavender, orange peels, organic vanilla, some like love oil that I had, and then Florida water. And I made that at the Venus hour on Venus Day.
Ooh.
And so you can tune into the energetics of the planets. Yeah. So that is one meta tip. But also, doing spiritual baths, like you can do one with roses, violets, chamomile. You can use a lot of different kinds of like love herbs to do that. Let me look at this up really quickly. I have this book right beside me. It's like for love, basically. But roses are really good to use. Cinnamon, Damiana also. Oh, Damiana, you got to watch out with Damiana. It'll make you kind of too hot. Hibiscus. Cha. But hibiscus also, that is great for love baths. So with the love baths, you can, I recommend 20 minutes max, because otherwise you get kind of pruny, and so do your love bath, have the love frequency on, and think about the ways that you are naturally attracting the someone who's going to be spiritually aligned with you, and who is in agreement with your spiritual court, your spirit guides, your ancestors of the highest elevation, because you want to make sure that your guides are okay with the person you're with. You know what I mean? You don't want there to be a spiritual battle. So I always recommend doing that, and just continue working on breaking down barriers to accepting love, like accepting the love that you truly deserve. And then I always tell people, pray for discernment to know what you deserve and, what is at your right frequency. Because you might attract 3 or 4 people, you might have a lot of people chasing after you. And
then you got choices.
You got choices.
You got options.
Choices, yeah. And then, because so I actually did this one love honey pot, and I used pepper. I used cayenne pepper, which was a mistake, because this person, the relationship was hot. It was like, whew. But then he turned out to be an asshole and treated me kind of poorly.
Yeah.
A little bit. But, it was just a very fast, kind of like Mars energy kind of relationship. And it wasn't really, it was a situationship, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So we're going to stay away from the cayenne pepper. We're going to, we're going to use some cinnamon. We're going to use Damiana in doses. Yeah.
Hibiscus. And then you can use petals. And you can use a pink candle for love magic. Red is hot. So I don't really know. It depends on how you're feeling. I have used a red candle, and like I said, that was one instance also where it was like, oof, I can't do this right now. It was like, oh, never using another red candle. So pink candles are great. But I would say with the love stuff, doing the external stuff is great. but you want to make sure that when that power comes through, you're able to discern what you deserve. And also, that's based on the work that you've done to integrate the lessons from the past relationship.
Yeah. I mean, that's so important, right? It's like, otherwise you just keep getting back in the same relationship.
Fall into the same cycle.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly, I say that from experience because I dated like the same guy over and over and over until,
oh my God.
it's because it's like, that's what you're just staying on that same frequency of what you're attracting until I didn't, until I did that reflection work and was like, I've definitely talked about this before. So this is like, yeah, when I finally did that work and my current partner, Ben, showed up, I was like, well, you're the complete opposite of every single other. Yeah. The only thing that was the same, and I've talked about this before too, but the only thing that was the same is they're all Tauruses. So clearly that's a thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I had one Virgo in the middle, but like mostly Tauruses my whole life.
Hard.
That's what I said the last time. Yeah. No offense to my Virgo people.
No offense. We love you.
But you're hard to date.
Yeah. And then mine has been mostly fire signs. This was our most recent person was a double Sagittarius rising and sun. And in very Sagittarian fashion, that was how the breakup happened. So I just moving to another city. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sagittarius and then Aries. I think Aries is more possibly suited for my chart. Aries and Cancer, maybe. So holler if you're out there.
we're making love matches. We're making love matches.
Matchmaker in heaven, Blue podcast.
Yes, that's what this episode is. It's matchmaking episode.
I had ulterior motives, just so you know.
So good. It's so good. But it's also like, that's one of the things I love about astrology is you start to know, like, I'm a Leo sun, Cap rising, Taurus moon, and I attract in Taurus people, and I also get them. And I kind of like that Taurus moon energy I have. Like, I love the little moments of it's nice. It's like I love the little moments of luxury and like the sense of pleasure and like the things like that. And so I like a partner who gets all that and is like down for that. But
what's your Venus?
My Venus is Cancer.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. That's cute.
Yeah. And cool. I have to like remind myself kind of often because I've got that like fire Leo energy and then that Capricorn energy. There can be a lot of and my Taurus moon. There can be kind of a lot of like force in that. So I have to remind myself, and it's actually something I kind of write in my new moon journal fairly often, is to lean into my Venus in Cancer and like let the softness be there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. It's for anyone who's listening and is like, where do I find all that information? You can get all your, it's good to know your sun, your rising, your moon, but you can go way deeper by checking into things like where your Venus is. That'll tell you how you love and how you like to be loved. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. All right. I've loved chatting with you. It's been so much fun. Yes. It's been so much fun. Okay. So I've got 5 questions for you.
Yes.
That we're going to close with. And I'm excited to hear your answers to these because I think it's so much fun to get to know each of the folks that have come on the show a little bit in a little bit of a deeper way through these questions. So, okay. So the first one is, tell us about an object or charm that is special to you.
An object or charm that's special to me. So let me think. I actually have a ring that is really, really special to me that I've had for about 9 years. And I kind of just use it for protection. But I've just experienced a lot with this specific ring. And then I also have a crystal that one of my best friends gave to me whenever I moved to New Orleans. And it's like a prosperity crystal. It's like adventuring. And so I have had that with me for like a long time.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love keeping that good crystal, that special crystal on your person,
Mm-hmm.
nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is, what is a book that changed your life?
So, a book that changed my life was the Tibetan Book of the Living and Dead.
Mm.
I read that back in college. And it is by who is it by? It's by Sagyal Rinpoche. I don't know how to say that, but it's Sogyal Rinpoche. How do you spell it? I think it's Ringp. Just Google it.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Just put it in the show notes.
Yeah,
But it is basically, it really helped me understand life beyond death. And I had like, I guess maybe like a summer where I studied Buddhism like hardcore in college. And I think that it kind of just helped me understand like that nothingness isn't bad. But it's kind of like the nature of reality is like impermanence and stuff like that. So yeah, I really love that book. It's really great for understanding just life in general and coming to terms with our own mortality.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to have to check it out. Got it. I'll put it in the show notes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, if it changed your life, it's got to be.
It did.
It's got to be a thing. Okay. Tell me about an experience or a moment that changed your life in a profound way.
So, I actually I did this shamanic ritual when I was in college, and it was based on a book that was it was based on a book that was written and inspired by the Tibetan Book of the Living and Dead. It was called like The Psychedelic Experience by Timothy Leary. So I did this whole ritual that was like a spiritual death and rebirth. And it involved just kind of like listening to different mantras and tuning into like my I guess my spirit guides. But the place that I was in got struck by lightning. It was it was profound. I'm kind of a storm witch also. Like I grew up just around a lot of storms, and like I just harness that energy. And this happened to be on the day of a Grand Cross eclipse that I had just randomly planned, So if you look at the birth chart for the day, the oppositions create a cross. And so this was in June 26th of 2010. And so, and I have a friend who is with me who isn't super woo-woo. I was the woo-woo one. He was kind of like, he went to law school, and he's pretty like, muggle. I love him if he's listening, but he's pretty, and he's also a straight, and he has a wife and stuff like that. But he was a witness to all the stuff that happened and was like, whoa. And it changed his life also. So I don't know what it was about that day, but that, maybe it was the energy of the eclipse, but I like, definitely experienced a ton of intergenerational healing because I grew up as like queer in Mississippi. So I really processed a lot of just understanding the spiritual root of a lot of types of oppression that I was going through. And I understood just a lot of different stuff about like occultism, how society makes us kind of like puts us into these boxes that reinforce polaristic thinking, a lot of different stuff. I realized a ton. So
wow. Okay, so when you were in that experience, I'm like jumping off the questions now because now I want to know more about that. But
yes,
when you were in that experience, you're like practicing mantra. Was there plant medicine involved too? Were you like in a you were like in a psychedelic state?
Yes, I was. I don't know if we were supposed to talk about that, but yes, I was in a psychedelic state, but it was, but I had been listening to drums and stuff like that. Cause it's different if you go to a concert, you're like, hey, what's up? I'm tripping. But it's like, it's different when you do ritual to like, cleanse and ground yourself. Yeah. And then, I hung out in the cemetery, William Faulkner's cemetery, actually. Wow. Cause I was in Oxford, cause that's where I went to, in Oxford, Mississippi. And I was in that state, but I just had all these profound realizations. and all these synchronicities after that. So it's affected me up until now. And it definitely opened me up as like a portal and channel too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ceremonial psychedelics is different from what you buy to go to the Friday night show. Yes.
Yeah, that's different.
That's different. Yeah.
And this required a lot of reading and planning, all that kind of stuff. So it was way different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. Amazing. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. The fourth question. What is something that you do for your personal health and wellness?
So I daydream a whole lot. So I like to just have time where I am just kind of tuned out. I like to, I guess that I grew up in the country. So that's a common country thing to do, is sit out on the porch and look at the squirrels. But I think there's a more spiritual component to it, because it helps quiet my mind. And so, because I already have enough, I don't really even need anything around for my mind to be racing. Because, I just like, am always thinking about stuff. So that is something that I do that really helps me maintain. And I really like that kind of, I like to do it alone also, because I definitely have to return back to my own energy. I mean, that was even true in the relationship, or being in a relationship too.
Yeah.
So that is something that I do. And I also grew up as an only child. So I'm kind of just used to being with myself. So that's something that I do a lot, is daydream and give myself time to also just do some free association with ideas. And that's how I get my downloads. So
yeah. So good. So good. Yeah. And I mean, growing up in Mississippi with all that nature, it's like a nice return to that sort of experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the oak trees here are so beautiful. It's like, I just go to City Park and chill out. Yeah.
Same. They're so good. Okay. Last question. Tell me about a moment that you knew magic was real.
I guess there were a lot of moments that I knew magic. But I guess specifically, this is one moment, but this is a very profound moment. And I guess I consider like being psychic as a moment too, as I guess magic. But my grandmother, I had moved up to Chicago, and I was talking to my grandmother. This is maybe like 3 years before she passed away. And we were just talking or whatever, and I told her about my tarot practice and about like the clients that I was seeing and how I do intuitive readings for people. And she was like, she had always been talking about dreams and stuff like that, but she was like, yeah, I have always had premonitions too. And I was like, what? Like, why didn't you tell me that earlier? I knew that she was a seer, but I didn't know that she classified that as, premonitions. And she was like 90 years old when she told me that.
Wow.
And so, I think that's whenever I realized like my own magic, and how I was like meant to be doing what I'm doing as someone who is like, a futurist thinker and, also a medium and psychic and stuff like that. So yeah, that moment was very special, just over the phone. She's like 13 hours away in Mississippi, and she's like, yeah, I have premonitions too. And I was like, oh my God, wow.
You're like, that explains some things.
I know. Yes.
Got it. Yeah. So good. And it's so special that you got to have that conversation while she was living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to just show her that part of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. This has been so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love you. Like, wow. This is great. It's literally like a sleepover, like pajama party.
I mean, that's the goal, is that we can hang out, talk about things that people are like, I think I want to know about that. How do I do spells? How do I do the things? Yeah, that's the goal. So
yes, get into that money magic and be careful with the love magic. Do your work before you get into that.
Got it. Yep. Okay, everybody. Everybody's heard it. Do the money magic.
Yes.
Be careful with the love magic.
Be careful.
Yes. Find the right person.
Yes.
Treat the heart right.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. Thanks for joining me. And I will, I'll send you all that stuff we've talked about.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. How much fun was that? As we were finishing recording and we're talking about this storm magic, literally the thunder and the lightning has like cranked up here in a massive way. Just a little bit of that energy coming through from the gods of the storm. So much fun. Okay. Thank you so much, Keyoncé, for being with me. And to each of you who have shown up every week for the show, I appreciate you so much. Every week, I will be expressing my gratitude because I'm truly so thrilled with the response we continue to get about the show. So I'm going to close with just a couple of quick reviews as I've been doing. This first one is from J.E. Frizzle, and it says, I'm so here for this. You had me at, we're going to get a little freaky here. I'm looking forward to hearing what comes next. And then this one from Cody Elizabeth 8, it says, love Andy, have been such a fan of hers for a while now, and I'm absolutely loving the podcast so far. Thank you all for being a part of this journey. And if you're loving the show, of course, I'd love a review from you if you haven't left one for us yet. And please pass it along. The episodes that are really resonating with you or that you think are super fun. If you want to share some love or money magic with someone close to you, pass this episode along. You can follow us and get updates on each new episode over on our Instagram page at YWWBFF. Of course, I'm Andy at WeWeGirl, and we've got another interview coming next week with Diana of La Green Chef and La Green Therapist. Excited to have her on the show. So much good conversation to come. Thank you for being a part of it. Thanks for being with me on this journey. Much love, much love. See you again really soon.